Good afternoon. My name is Bob Block. I'm President and CEO of Proexam. We're going to talk a little today about social and emotional learning. Show of hands, how many folks are aware of what's going on in K-12 as it relates to SEL? That's most everyone. Okay, for those who are not aware, and we're trying to get this. Okay. Am I hitting the wrong? There we go. Okay, so there's a definition of SEL. Basically, in layman's terms, we're talking about people skills. We're talking about social skills, soft skills. There's a lot of different terms to describe it. But we all know intuitively that these are critical, are important for success in academic life as well as in career. And we're going to focus a little bit of our attention on what Proexam is doing in order to take advantage of what we think is a real market opportunity and a real opportunity to affect students in classrooms. So this is some research that's been done recently about the kind of where things are in the market for K-12 SEL. As you can see, there's not much happening that in terms of what teachers are saying is advanced. Most of the market is still emerging. There are schools, I would say early adopter schools, that are developing SEL programs or implementing SEL. But right now we think there's a very significant market opportunity. And this is a domestic view, but we think this is a global opportunity. A little feedback from what teachers are saying about SEL. This is, again, recent research. Very few say we're doing too much. Most are saying we're doing enough or we need to do more. Again, this speaks to what we think is a market opportunity. This information from teachers really is backed up by the data. I don't know how many of you sat in on Tim Shriver's keynote lunch yesterday. He's a very passionate supporter of SEL, and he talked a lot about some of the same data, that there's huge support for SEL in schools, for the impact on not only student performance, academic performance, but the notion of them becoming even better global citizens. This is important from a cost-benefit analysis. So Teachers College and Columbia University did this study a couple of years ago, measuring the cost-benefit of $1 spent in social emotional learning in K-12, $11 to 1 to society. There are no cognitive programs, no math programs, English, science programs that generate this level of return for society. So there's a lot of research to back up the value of SEL in K-12. So demand is clear, the mission's critical based on all that data. So who's Proexam? Well, we're unique in this particular form because we're a nonprofit. So we're not looking for money, but we are very mission driven. We believe that there's a very important place for us in this particular market to try to add value. We're a measurement organization. Historically, we've been serving the credentialing market. So we have clients like the CPA exam and Project Management Institute, that you might be familiar with, the project management professional. We work with those organizations to help them develop and deliver their testing programs, their credentialing programs. But we're taking that competency and we're transforming our organization over the last couple of years to become much more focused on innovative items, innovative assessments, but also, and really importantly, continuing to be valid, reliable, scientifically based measurement tools. Really important when you're measuring any kind of individual, especially students, you want to make sure that your assessments are valid and reliable measures of an individual's skill or competency. So a little new news for Proexam. A couple months ago, we announced that we are merging with ACT. I'm sure many of you probably have never heard of Proexam, but you probably all heard of ACT. Very large testing organization. We're excited about that merger because it's basically ACT's commitment to what Proexam is doing both in the credentialing market and more importantly in this context for SEL. ACT is, and I know this now acronym hell, I'm just as I'm saying all these acronyms, but ACT is essentially part of their strategic plan going to become very much involved in supporting social emotional learning in K-12. They want to provide parents, teachers, students, as well as colleges, a more holistic perspective of individuals. It's not just about the academics, it is about the whole person. So we're taking, as I said earlier, because we're scientists, because we are about measuring scientifically based measures of competency, we're taking a scientific approach to SEL. So a couple of years ago, we hired at Proexam some leading scientists in the field. Dr. Roberts and Dr. Burst both come from ETS, a former employer of mine, and we hired them to basically begin building non-cognitive or SEL assessments for Proexam. We're basing our SEL assessments on what we call the big 5 personality factors. It's really, I'm sure you've heard about grit and growth mindset. Those all are part of what we call the big 5. Big 5 is basically an aggregation of all the terms that are used to describe personality. Conscientiousness is work ethic and grit and so forth. Think of it as canoe, C-A-N-O-E, agreeableness, N is actually neuroticism. We like to think of it as the positive pole, which is emotional stability, resilience, right? Openness is curiosity, creativity, and of course E is extroversion. These are the 5 kind of core personality factors that we use to kind of measure what we call constructs. And so we use the big 5 because it's a global, it's been adopted globally. So OECD, PISA, all the global assessments are using the big 5 as their kind of organizing principle. This is the real key to what we're doing. And this is a slide I want to kind of dwell on a little bit here, because 20 years ago, the psychology would tell you that you were hardwired. You were born, your personality is fixed, it doesn't change. Well, the metadata now, of course, over the last 10, 20 years indicates that that's not true, that personality does change. The younger you are, the more adaptable, the more malleable you are. You can affect personality, especially if you've got the right kind of measures, the right kind of interventions and so forth. Now, as you can see, as you get to be my age, you change a little bit less. That's probably intuitive as well. But when you're young, you can impact these factors. And that's a very important part of why we think SEL is an important growing market opportunity in K-12. And we talk about K-12, we talk about public, private, parochial, charter schools, all of K-12. So Tessera is our product. It is exciting for us. We are just launched it back in October, and we are, right now we've got about 25 schools that are using it. Let me just briefly go to some of the schools that I'm out of time. Wow, okay. So Salt Lake City is one of our schools, by the way, and I want to introduce 2 of the advocates here, the principal, Greg Maughan, and Lee Vandenacker, who's a partner of ours who helped us develop the teacher playbook. I apologize for running out of time, but if you want to talk to myself or the folks from Salt Lake City, I'll be around. Thank you.